Hello everybody and welcome back to another watercolor painting tutorial. We are going to be painting this paintbrush that sprouts into a floral arrangement, and it's very easy to draw this paintbrush. Basically you can start off with drawing a narrow rectangle, and then this rectangle you can have 2 points that come down from it like this, and about half the width of your rectangle, and then you just swoop them inwards like this, and then at one point they don't join, but they start swooping outwards and then back inwards, outwards and then back inwards. You can add 2 little circles for the nails. Should have gone a little bit closer for that drawing, but and then we'll have the bristles coming out, but you don't have to draw the bristles because we're just going to paint those on, and the bristles will turn into sprouts and just a general floral arrangement, but you can leave that just blank because we'll be painting flowers there. So going back outwards, we are going to start with the floral arrangement only because it's easier to paint from the top downwards in this particular painting. So I'm just going to grab my Winsor & Newton size 1. I've linked the products I use in the description, so if you're interested, they are there. And we're going to be using green watercolor for our sprouts, and you can paint whatever flowers that you want. I haven't decided yet which flowers I'm going to be painting. I'm just mixing some of my greens together to create the ideal green for what I want, at least. I'm going to add a little bit of black just to darken my green. All right, so thinking how best to tackle this. I think I'm just going to leave a little bit of a gap and then paint my floral arrangement outwards like this. And I'm just starting with some green foliage because I want to mark just a really rough placement of where I want some things to go. So if I have my my greenery down, then it'll make painting the florals a little bit easier. Okay, I'm gonna go a little bit closer just for this part. And I think I'll have another bristle. I'm gonna have a flower arrangement here, so I'm just gonna have some of my greenery going behind it. Okay, so we can always go back later and add more greenery, but I do want to get some of my florals down. So I'm just going to switch brushes. And I'm using my size 8 Grumbacher brush, the round brush, and I'm going to paint some just really loose florals here. I think I'm going to do some sort of rose. So starting out with pigmented center, and then I'm gradually expanding on that while also watering down what I paint. And by the way, this isn't meant to be like an in-depth floral tutorial, so by all means check out some of my other tutorials in which I do go quite a bit more in depth with my flowers, because I have a lot of those. All right, I think I'm happy with this guy. And I'm gonna have this one pointing outwards the other way to the left. Or downwards, I suppose. And then gradually getting lighter. Alrighty. I think I will paint a very small flower. I say it's small, but it's probably going to end up being really large. Yeah, I think I like that. And I'm just gonna adjust the sky a little bit so it looks a little bit more like a flower and not just a blob of watercolor. Okay, so I think I'm happy with these floral arrangements. I'm just gonna expand on my foliage and my greenery just to fill up the space a little bit more. So what I want to do now here is turn these green bristles into brown bristles. So I'm gonna actually paint a few more green bristles just so that it looks like there's more foliage coming up here than I initially painted. And then I'll take the brown and I'll just lead it into the green foliage so it looks like I have brown bristles that are turning green. And it actually kind of looks cool because you can think of the brown bristles as metaphorical roots for the plants. So now we can take some brown watercolor and we're going to paint over the paintbrush itself. And I'm going to leave this part unpainted for now because I'm going to paint that like a gray color later since I want it to look like it's that silver wrapping that goes over paintbrushes. I suppose we could have done that first, but I got ahead of myself and just grabbed brown watercolor. I'm just gonna add some black and add a bit of a shadow coming on the one side here. Just because the handle itself looks a little bit plain, so I do want to add a little bit of variety to it. And then you can take your gray watercolor or just a really watered down black. Both will do. And we're gonna paint this section here in between the bristles and the handle of the paintbrush. And I'm leaving a white space there simply because I'm too impatient to wait for the handle to dry before applying this part. Otherwise you wouldn't leave like a white spot there. And you can see that I dotted two shadows there for the screws. That's probably going to fade out a little bit, so once it completely dries, I am gonna just add some final details. Okay, so as this is drying, I just took some really pigmented gray and I'm just applying that in the center again. And I'm also going to take some brown watercolor again, basically the same color that we used for the paintbrush. And I'm just outlining it gently because I want it to have a little bit of a cleaner look. And I'm also taking that same brown and I'm just going over the bristles again and closing that gap between the bristles and the silver part there. And that is our paintbrush, our floral sprouting paintbrush. I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. If you did, don't forget to subscribe to my channel and don't forget to check out my other videos.